So yeah, this video is on probably the toughest hike, maybe, that I'll ever do. It's currently the night before, but it's easier to explain some of it now. It's called the Grandview Loop Trail, and it's 20.2 kilometers long. So you're looking at like 13.5 miles. This walk that I'm doing in this one, there's 1,200 meters of elevation gain. Obviously 1,200 meters down is going to be quite painful. I always say that going uphill works your muscles, and like that's the kind of pain that comes from it, and then going downhill is on your joints, which is just not as pleasant. It should take 7 hours straight walking. I'll probably be a bit quicker than average, but it's going to be really, really tough. It's probably going to be like mid-teens in terms of weather as well, so that's going to be tough.
I saw a photograph from 10 years back. It's you and I were standing in the rain, somewhere outside Atlanta, and I think my 12-seat band is right there out of frame. This was before I knew my...
So starting off on the Grandview Trail, already come down a fair bit, but you can see down there, there's a bit of a path. I imagine that's where I'm going, and then it's like even further down. But yeah, it's pretty tricky terrain as well. Like this is probably the most even it's been, but it's very very loose, very exposed, very steep. Yeah, kind of just like traversing, obviously down the cliff face. Got kind of flat bits like this, and then steep switchbacks. And kind of right up against, obviously, the drop on one side and then the rocks on the other. You can actually see through there the Colorado River, passing through the canyon.
I went around Los Angeles before I ever cared about nice neighborhoods. We were driving through the night, sleeping on hotel floors, and thinking that we had it good. We were kids back then, thinking we would live together. We were kids back then. We were wild and free, taking on the world together. We were kids back then. That's how we're always gonna be. Timeline, who had lately been on my mind.
So getting lower now, I think that was the top where I started. I'm not sure, because as you come down, it actually gets to a point where like you can't see kind of beyond the peak in front of you. So I think that's probably the top. It might be slightly further back, but as you can see, come across a rock slide here. I just walked past a guy, an older guy, telling me that there's a couple of rock slides, and that he decided after a few of them to turn back because he thought it was too dangerous for him to carry on. But he said that I should be okay. So yeah, probably gonna have to navigate a couple of them. So there's another one. I just kind of clambered over. It's not actually too bad. And then yeah, I got another one here again. That'll be where I started. All the way at that back one. You just constantly, especially with this kind of terrain where it's loose rocks and dust, there's not a lot of grip, so you're always like kind of having to slow down and make sure that you're not gonna like fall over or whatever. So yeah, it's kind of hard work, especially on your knees and whatever. And you can see kind of how steep it would be to have to actually come down. Because you can't actually see like a set path or anything.
We were close as blood. And if we sat down...
But yeah, about to get to the loop. This trail is kind of like lollipop shaped in the sense of the way that I'm coming out now. I'll have to go back this way, but I'm about to join kind of like the circular bit. So that's taking like an hour and a half to get to here. And in front of here, this is known as the Horseshoe Mesa, or Mesa, whatever. And you can kind of see, obviously,
why it's called that. And I think the trail, the loop that I'm doing, goes kind of around this and a bit further. So yeah.
Drink, I think we forget all stupid reasons we lost touch. It was just because we were.
So I thought like kind of like starting the loop would be a bit flatter and stuff, but I'm not going up there. I'm actually meant to be going all the way down there. So still got a long way to descend, which just means that there's even more to climb on the way out. So yeah, that's gonna be fun.
Back then, thinking we would live forever. We were kids back then, you and me. We were wild and free, taking on the world together. We were kids back then. That's how we're always gonna be.
Yeah, it's actually taken me quite a while to get kind of to the bottom of this section. It's just very steep, and just yeah, there's just no grip or places to kind of consistently put your feet. But I have made it from all the way up there so far. So.
All you got to do is blink your eyes and the years go by like that. They fly right past. I don't want to wait to realize.
So this is almost the kind of furthest away point that I'll get to on the walk. I think probably maybe like 50 meters more away from the start point. But as you can see, I'm very much stood in like the middle of the Grand Canyon right now. You can see that's kind of a rim point over there. That's kind of the height that I came down from. That's not the same place I came down from, like well over that way. Actually, what you've got here, along here, this kind of canyon, even further below me, I think that's where the river is and stuff. But yeah, literally stood right in like the heart of it, which is really weird and pretty cool. Not many people do this. I haven't seen a single person on the loop today. Queuing up to get into the park, I was slightly delayed this morning, so had to sit for like 25-30 minutes just in a queue of cars, which went over like 5 lanes, and they had 5 entry points, and they were all like just stacked up. And knowing how many people are like coming in, the place that I'm at now is so kind of secluded and walked so little, that it's really weird, because most people will be kind of well beyond the horizon in that direction where the kind of the main visitor centre is, and they'll be stood at the top taking their photos or whatever, and they'll see the Grand Canyon. But to actually be like right in the middle of it is pretty special, but obviously very hard work.
Everything that you and I already have. 5:30 in the morning and we're awake again. You are holding baby Jane. I lean in to take a picture when it hits me. In 20 years I will look back and say, we were kids back.
Have a look at this. The river kind of runs kind of behind that dip there. Yeah, just absolutely crazy. And then like this is just, all of this is just enough of like a canyon to be amazed, and then you kind of pan around and obviously you realise that you're already in a canyon. And there's just a whole other layer to it, which is just, yeah, I've never seen anything like that.
Back then, thinking we would live forever. We were kids back then. We're so young and free, taking on the world together. We were kids back then. That's how we're always gonna be.
So I've realised that actually this kind of thing deserves a name, you know, a canyon within a canyon. So I thought Canyonception was a good name. Sorry, I'm delirious from the heat and the effort I'm going through. Sorry about that. Impressive that it hasn't happened sooner, but I have just had a slight collision with the floor. Just lost my back foot there. I went down on my knee, which I think is okay. I mean, I obviously can't see underneath, but yeah, a bit of blood on the hand. But yeah, I'd been surprised if I got through all 20 kilometers without some injury. So I've already climbed up from that canyon down there, and I actually got to get to the top of this cliff, which is going to be really, really hard work. It's already pretty tough, and it is quite hot now as well. So yeah, and I've already done like 13-14 kilometers of walking, and now still got like to climb over 1,000 meters. So yeah, it's tough. No idea what this is, but also there's be some like mine thing in here. Interesting. So yeah, I can just about see where I've come from. Yeah, still at this cliff to get out of, and that's only like maybe a third of the climb back out. Like pretty much at the top of here is kind of the start of the loop again, and so still got like the 5 kilometers back up the canyon to do. So yeah, it's going to be a long day. So been on the cliff face for probably like 10 minutes now, just climbing way up. As you see, it's sometimes like this, it's sometimes more like hands and knees kind of deal, but it's all right. So made it to the top of the cliff. Yeah, you can see where I've come from. All the way down there somewhere. So yeah, back at the loop. That direction is where I went, and obviously all the way around and whatever. But now going back all the way up to the top. So I think I'll put it up there is the end. So yeah, you can see a long way to go. So yeah, still at first of all that to climb, and then the one in the background. From the information that I've gathered, it seems that actually most people who do this walk will do it over 2 days. They'll kind of get to the bottom and then camp out and then walk back out again. So to do it one day is either brave or stupid, probably both. But yeah, just trying to not like cramp up or anything now, because there's still like 5 kilometers to go up to that point. I think it's worth it all for this view though.
We were kids back then, thinking we would live forever. We were kids back then.
So approaching the 6 hour mark. Down there, about here, is where like the lower loop started, kind of around this horseshoe, hence the horseshoe name. Went kind of over the dip just there. That was like the 500 meter drop that I did. And then you can see here-ish is the rim of the canyon at the bottom that I was at. So you can see I've already made it all the way up from there, and heading up to the top of there for the finish. Nearly 18 kilometers in at this point. I'm just like a tiny bit concerned that by the time I get to the top I'll have lost sight of where I've been. So again, that's the horseshoe where the loop started. Went round and down there, and you can see like there, just on the edge of my finger, was the furthest point away. And then even this bit here, that was like the first cliff that I climbed back out of again.
You and me, we were wild and free, taking on the world together. We were kids back then.
So I made it back, which is honestly a massive achievement. I'm actually quite proud of myself for today. It was a real challenge. That last clip just then was to show just how many people actually come here, and this is like at the end of the day as well, so it's a bit quieter now, but you know, loads of people come to this like spot to take photos, and like, you know, obviously like you can see now there's like a lot of people, but that's just to show that a lot of people come here, but then obviously no one really goes down into the canyon. But yeah, it took 6 hours and 20 minutes, just under 20 kilometers, so about like 13 miles, and I think it was like 3,100 calories burnt for the average person. And in the end, it was 1,300 meters of elevation gain, which, to give context behind that, it's almost double the elevation gain that you get from Snowdon, and it's pretty much the same as if you were to climb Ben Nevis. However, to climb Ben Nevis, I think it's only like 13 kilometers round trip, whereas this was like 20. So you're doing effectively Ben Nevis plus 7 kilometers on top of that, which is about like another 4.5 miles. So yeah, that's probably the toughest hike I've ever done. The views were amazing. I absolutely do not want to get it wrong that I'm complaining about it. It was just a massive challenge, but it was so worth it. I've always enjoyed like long walks and kind of challenging stuff, and the views were amazing. The day's been great, and I think it's one of those things that right now it's almost like you're a little bit traumatized, so it's like you're still kind of getting over it, but give it a week or like a few months and stuff, I'll look back at this day as one of like the best walks I've ever done and one of the best kind of challenges I've ever done. So yeah, I think I'm gonna go to McDonald's because it's on the drive back, and I think I'm gonna order the whole menu and not feel guilty about it at all. And then probably take a day off tomorrow. But yeah. Whew.